This is Hope and Help with Doctors Michelle and Mark Sherwood. Insights and interviews with a dose of straight talk to help you enjoy optimal health in all areas of life.
Hey everyone, welcome again. And I am pumped up because today I get to talk to one of my longtime friends, colleagues, and partners in, well, kind of like crime, let's say, Dr. Charles Webb. So, Dr. Webb, man, thank you. I appreciate you joining us. And I know we're on the first name basis, so I'll just call you Charlie if that's okay, right?
I prefer, but yeah, I was excited about this, Mark. It's been a little while since we've got to see each other in person. So this is the next best thing, man.
It is. And I tell you what, we met at an event where you spoke about a sort of a community of people called Freedom Practice Coaching. And I remember sitting there in that audience of practitioners, and we were in Dallas, Texas. I was thinking, what he's saying sounds right. It sounds good. I want to have the ability to help people and don't want to be bound to a system. And so you're talking about something here that you founded, right? So tell everybody about that.
Well, my background is I got into chiropractic, back when after I left college. That's what I decided to do. And long story, I was actually going to be a veterinarian. We don't have time to go into that now, but my younger brother fell into some challenges, and it was a chiropractor that helped him. He had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and I got to actually experience him going through this, and the doctor that was helping him ended up becoming a friend of mine. And he was just a really good guy, and he knew what he was doing, and he really added significance in my brother's life. So that's the path I took. But like you, I got into practice, and what I saw was a whole lot of red tape. And what I saw was restrictions on what I had learned. I mean, here I had learned all kinds of testing and and diagnosing and how to work with individuals and help them resolve, problems, disease type of conditions. And when I was in practice, I found that I had a lot of restrictions and limitations on what I could, what I couldn't do. And because insurance is part of the old game, they would tell me what I could do and how much I would get paid and what I could prescribe to my patient. And that didn't hit me very well, Mark. It really did get to a point to where I felt like I was working for a system. I felt like a technician. I didn't feel like I was the doctor who I knew I was, which is the teacher, the mentor. Yeah. And so I found myself eventually leaving that system. I left altogether and came back a few years later and decided, I told my wife, Mindy, I said, Mindy, first I had a challenge going back, and Minnie said, Charlie, you need to go back. She said, this is who you are and people need you. And so I said, if I go back, I'm going to do it my way. And when I went back into practice, I got involved in what you know as a true wellness model. A lot of people hear the word functional medicine, but it really is lifestyle. And that's what I dove into. And I built a model that was independent of what insurance companies would tell me I couldn't do. It was a system that allowed me to work with people and build them a unique program for where they were, where they wanted to go, meet them where they're at. And I put in all of that a complete educational curriculum that all of my patients would go through, Mark. Mm-hmm. And it ended up turning into be an incredible model that allowed me to get results beyond what I ever was able to do before. We were actually able to watch people come off their meds, lose the weight, get out of these disease processes, diabetes or irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune conditions. And I was on purpose, and it really allowed me to live my life in my work, because it wasn't work anymore, and it allowed me to have freedom with my family. So that's where Freedom Practice started. After I built that and proved it out, and then you've been a part of it, but yeah, that's where it came from, and it's just been thriving, and especially with all the stuff we see today.
So, there's two different angles here, and I want you to talk about both. You were in a system, and many physicians that might be listening to us today are in the system, and many patients are dealing with physicians in the system. So we know that situation doesn't work. So there's two people on the line today. There's the physicians, and then there's the people that deal with physicians in the system that's running them and not being effective. So when you put the model into place, what did that do to the patient relationship with you? And what did that do to your relationship with the patient?
Well, I got to put it this way. We don't call them patients. So that should say something about the relationship, because that patient has been in indoctrination, right? It tells people that, hey, you're going to have problems. And when you do, you're called a patient, and you need to find a doctor that can fix you, and you're entitled to it because of insurance. And that really is good for the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
But it's not good for the doctor, and it's not good for the patient, which I just call basically the person that's working with a doctor that's really mentoring them and guiding them. They're a member, they're a practice member, they're a client. I mean, that's the relationship. But the relationship was not me simply being a doctor that was going to give them a service, or, basically service or goods or medication or supplements, whatever. And I'm not saying those things don't have a part to play, but I became their support, their mentor. Doctors we're supposed to teach.
Yeah.
And so I knew that, look, if the people that came to me, if they had all the knowledge that I have on how to take care of myself, because like you, I'm a super health nut guy, and I know how to live my life. I've never been on meds. I'm going to be 60, and I'm in great shape, and I feel good. It's great. So I said, why? How can I call myself a doctor if I can't transfer this information that I have over to these people seeking my help? Because if I can do that, that's priceless.
That's so good, because and we've done the same thing. We don't call them patients. We call them part of our community. We're partners in health, man.
Family.
People respond to that. So you've seen, I know, because we actually went through and learned the processes with Freedom Practice Coaching, known as FPC. And we'll provide links down there below. So if anybody's interested in that from a practitioner standpoint, go there right now, Freedom Practice Coaching, and you won't be disappointed at all. I'm telling you right now, it's something that really catapulted us to a place we needed to go. We had to have a head start in that, But when you did this, you saw a lot of lives change. You saw other physicians' lives change. Tell me what that did to Charlie Webb.
Well, in the very beginning, on the selfish side of things, I knew I had to change the way that I practiced, because I personally had some situations going on. I'm a healthy guy, but I had an autoimmune condition that I had to take a deep dive into, and that functional medicine path was what got me there. And thank God that I've gone through these challenges, Mark, because I have empathy. I understand what it's like to go through these challenges, right? But I had the challenge of the doctor of, here you are, you've invested so many years of your life, you've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now you're trying to build this practice, but you're in handcuffs. It becomes very frustrating. You do not get, to be quite honest, most of the time you're not paid your true value. It's a discount. And I know patients don't always understand that. They think that doctors are struggling today, and they're struggling in time. They don't get to spend time with their loved ones. And that's just really a sad situation. So being able to take doctors and show them a beautiful way to work and support those people who come to trust them, and help empower them. When you empower someone, Mark, there's nothing, because you're adding significance. And it's, John Maxwell a long time told me, Charlie, adding value to yourself is called success. Adding value to others is significance. Go for the significance, and the success will follow. And I just want to add significance to doctors, to all kinds of doctors, whether they're medical specialists, a pediatrician, endocrinologist, intern, whether it's a chiropractor, naturopath, a nurse practitioner, I don't care who it is. They all play a role in empowering our communities. And when we do that this way, the acute care system, there's a place for it, you know that. Yeah. But why are people going for meds and surgeries and all this before they've even tried? Lifestyle. And so if we can empower all of the practitioners, or enough to start, changing, this pendulum, move the pendulum over, and those doctors, if I can empower doctors, they'll empower the communities. And one of the things that we say here at FPC, we're here to change 10 million lives in 10 years. If we empower people to take care of themselves, they're better. They're better emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. I believe that people will have a tendency to be in more peace, more joy. I believe that with people, if we do this, we can improve communities, we can improve the world if we simply show people that, the gratitude that they should have for their health and seek that health. And if we can support that, it's just a never ending impact of adding significance. That's a long way around of answering your question. But
yeah, and I think, as you were talking, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How long has FPC been around, and how many physicians, clinicians have you helped?
Well, I started it in 2012. And since then, I believe we're a little over 500 different practitioners.
Wow.
The majority through the U.S. We've had some outside, Australia, Canada, Africa. So we've had some out, and we plan on getting outside, but we've got there's plenty of people right here in this country we need to focus on. Those things were just kind of fell onto us. People found out about us, and of course, if we can help them, we're going to do that. But we've been growing at a good pace. Mm-hmm. It's at a pace that we can continue supporting people at the level that we know that we want, that we can at the highest level. But it's a pace, it's a growth that we can always get information back from all you guys. We're always getting this information back, and we're able to every month, every quarter, every year. And you've seen us. Mm-hmm. We evolve.
Yeah.
We learn we evolve, and we make the process easier and easier, and just simplify things. The trying to go in and thinking that some of these doctors thinking, well, how do I go in and I do this more of a wellness model that I don't have to depend on insurance and I can do it virtual. Boy, we could have a whole conference on virtual and the benefits of that with everything in this world today. Mm-hmm. And we do that with our clinicians, but it's not so difficult. It's not that you need tons of information. You need the practical steps and how to implement those steps. And in a short period of time, you're in it before you know it, and you're evolving, and it's a good thing.
It's a mindset change, isn't it, for just not only the clinician, but also the part of the community, the members, if you will. It's a whole mindset change, isn't it? And it builds confidence, doesn't it?
It is a mindset change. And I think, before we started this podcast, you and I had a conversation about it's time for America to have a mindset. We all need to get out of the box and get out of the status quo and out of the complacency of things. And people, it's not that people don't want a mindset change. They just don't know it's available. It's if you get in front of the same TV and the same show every day, you don't know what you're missing out on life. And so change is a beautiful thing, and change isn't hard. It's just different.
I was thinking about this, here we are in the, basically the first quarter-ish of 2021. And, we've been through this pandemic, COVID, et cetera. I haven't heard from leaders in medicine and government on TV at all talk about wellness. I haven't heard that. Have you heard that? And if so,
well, I mean, if you don't mind me speaking, there's political issues here. I mean, there's profits to be made on sickness. There's the system, the healthcare system in itself. And again, I'm not knocking the doctors here, but the system in itself, these are corporations, insurance companies, corporations, hospitals, corporations, pharmaceutical corporations. They're run by CEOs and COOs and boards that they have to do one thing, and that's generate profit for their members. And when you start saying things, if I'm sitting in a situation and the more tests I can run and the more surgeries I can do and the more drugs I can sell, it's a threat that someone comes along or a whole industry that comes along and says, we're going to show you guys how to never get into that mess. We're going to show you how to live life and live it to its fullest. Well, not only are you not going to hear them on TV discussing it very much, you're going to hear contra information. You're going to hear things that, well, wellness that's not real. I mean, think about it. It wasn't all that many years ago, Mark, where doctors would say nutrition is quackery.
They would.
I mean, and smoking, well, that's okay. I mean,
vitamins and minerals, no good.
Yeah, no good. So, I mean, it is what it is. But you know what? People are awake. People, when I used to do live events, and I would get in front of a group of people, and I miss those. I love speaking.
Wow, yes.
And I would ask the crowd, I'd say, how many of you are happy with the current healthcare system? I didn't say your doctor. It was not only were they not happy, it was booze. Yeah. So the population and again, I can ask someone, are you happy with the doctor? I love my doctor. He's really nice. Would you be willing to pay your doctor instead of your insurance company for what you're getting from your doctor? Well, no. Well, then you don't see value. You might like them, and you may feel that they have integrity, and you may feel that they're smart, but you don't feel that you're really getting what you need to be healthy. That should tell you something. But the reason that system can be supported is because it's the taxpayers paying for it. People don't see themselves as paying for it. It's like, my father-in-law, he had this pain in his chest and his back and stuff. And I told him, Bobby, let's take care of this and stuff. But he got scared, and I get it. And long shot, I didn't believe anything was going to be there, but there was test after test after test run. And if he didn't have insurance, they wouldn't have run those tests. They'd say there's nothing here, but they ran probably $25,000 for the test. And he was okay with it. He said, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. That's good. But well, how much did the test cost? Well, who cares? It's free. No, Bobby, I paid for it. You paid for it. Your wife paid for it. Your daughter paid for it. And we don't think through those things.
Well, I think you nailed it right there. That people listening to this, podcast in general, because it is what it is. It's titled "Healthcare is Missing Link," as you know. So we know there's missing stuff there, and you have seen and been on the forefront, Charlie, of bringing about change. And I appreciate that about you, because you're not afraid to go out there and blaze a trail, if you will. What are some, maybe a couple stories that you'd like to share, just success stories, whether it be practitioners or maybe part of their community they're dealing with?
I mean, I've got all kinds of practitioners that come to us, and we have some people that are already in successful practices, but they want to transition. They want more than wellness. I have some people come to us, they're brand new. And then I have some other people that they step. One of my favorite stories, I'll tell you this one. So sometimes we have practitioners that come to us, and they, like me, they got sick of it. And they said, this isn't who I am. I don't believe it's right. I'm going to step out and do it my way. I'm going to be that coach to my practice member. I'm going to step out of this whole insurance deal. I'm not going to be held captive. And a lot of people get to that point, and they go for it. The challenge is it's a whole nother model.
Yeah.
And if you haven't experienced it, it can kick you in the butt. And there's a gentleman that he's a client, and he's actually a very good friend of mine today out in Florida. And he came to us, incredible medical background. He was in internal medicine, very successful. And he left, a successful practice, went on his own, and it didn't take long before he found himself in financial trouble. And his heart wasn't going to give up. And when he came to us, he was in bad shape. And he had faith in us. He had faith in himself, and he just knew the purpose he needed to serve. And his girlfriend at the time was there to support him. And this is a gentleman that started in a negative cash flow place, really, and no office or anything. And it was interesting because within 3 months we had this guy up making things happen. And within his first year, he was hugely successful. In fact, he ended up asking that girl to marry him because the reason he wanted to marry, but he didn't ask her because he didn't feel he was in a position to support her.
Wow.
Talk about heartbreak, right?
That's amazing.
So he ended up marrying her. I was asked to attend the wedding. And by the end of the first year, not only had his practice thrived, but he had started a nonprofit that he had wanted to do for a long time, which was basically helping people, lower incomes and so forth, and kids too. He really wanted to focus on the kids, build these gardens in the little dirt areas around their communities and all of that, and get them into discovering food and all that. And so he started that was first year. So it's those kind of stories. And now he lives on his terms. He sends me these videos of he's got these parties for his practice members, like graduation, because he takes people through customized health programs and stuff. Yeah. And then he has these, and he's got big old tents up and everything else. And all you see is just how much he loves the people he works with and how much they love him. Right. And that's what we strive for. That's the way life and health, because not only did he help them with their health, he made a friend. He brought people into his family, and he's changing the community. And people see him just like, I'm sure a lot of your practice members probably, some of them sure call you Dr. Sherwood, but a lot of them probably, hey, Dr. Mark or yeah. And it becomes, that's why I tell people, call me Charlie. I just want to get rid of the professional stuff.
There is a relationship that's built that's very unique. It's a relationship based upon trust, common purpose, common good, common why. And I think that's the strength behind it for sure.
Yeah. And some people, they think that some doctors, well, I don't want the profession to go out of them. It doesn't. It goes up. Your respect and integrity when you're their coach, when you are not just that physician, but you are their mentor, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, I call it. The respect that you get from your practice members goes over the top, knowing that there's a place I can call you Mark, but there's a place where you're my doctor, and I'm going to hold myself accountable to you because I don't want to let my doctor down.
I agree. And we've seen that if we position this right, everybody listening to this would understand that this freedom practice coaching is really, in a nutshell, yes, physicians do it, clinicians do it, but it's really for the good of the world. It's really I think so. And that's the biggest compliment anyone could give us, Mark. That's the biggest compliment anyone could give us, because that allows my purpose and my entire team. And you know this too. If something happens to me today, I promise you this company ain't going anywhere. That's the kind of team I have and the purpose they have, because just like what you said, they know that we want to change lives. And the way that we have to do that, we have to duplicate the model 1,000 times, 2,000 times. This is why I left practice. I knew I could only help this many people. Mm-hmm. I wanted to help this many. Okay, I got to duplicate myself. I got to duplicate the model. And that's really what came of freedom practice coaching. And who knows what this year is going to hold. Next year, we had challenges last year that we really moved toward a virtual platform. So our physicians, hopefully things will go back to where I know you're seeing people. Personally, there's some value in that, and it's fun to do. And I believe that'll happen this year. But it's nice to know that if things go locked down, or when situations happen, you can do that. Or if you travel, I travel. Yeah. Yeah.
And being able to do virtual means more time for my family too.
Yeah. I don't think, we looked at looking back on 2020 and haven't seen it as a negative at all. We've seen it as a great positive. It's given you a chance to evaluate, sort of bust out a system that needed to be busted in the first place. And that's kind of what you're doing.
Exactly.
You're a trailblazer and you're a culture buster, and that's good, right?
I think so. But, You're the same. How's Michelle, by the way?
She's doing great. We just, as you know, just recently aired her movie. It's going to be distributed worldwide anytime now. Pretty cool. So
yeah, keep me abreast and tell her I said hi.
I will. So Charlie, we got about 5 minutes left, and I want you to talk to two groups of people out here. I want you to talk to the clinicians, the health coaches, the naturopaths and nurse practitioners that are just locked in here and going, okay, tell me what I'm going to get, what I'm going to change from this. Then I also want you to talk to the communities that they serve.
Okay.
The communities of people. So speak to both people and just let it rip. What would you like to tell them?
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the community. I'm going to start there. So there's a lot of you out there that are listening right now, and you don't have the kind of health that you know that you should. You're not living in greatness that you're created in. There's an abundant life that we all should really be living. And by doing that, we can add more significance to other people's lives, our kids, our friends, and people we work with. But if you don't have an understanding of how you're created and how your body works, then you're kind of in a place of slavery, I guess. I know that's a strong word, but someone else is going to make your decisions for you. You can be easily indoctrinated and things like this. And I just want you to understand that, again, I'm not saying there's an intentional push from physicians, but there are people that are trying to profit off of your ill health. And what I'm asking you to do is recognize that lifestyle comes first. And if you know what to eat, what to drink, what to remove out of your life, you know how to move, exercise, you know the value of the air and the sun and all these things that we're told to stay away from, you can live a life. My mom, I mean, she's 82. We went for a long walk the other day, and we came into some traffic. She ran across the street with me, Mark. I gave her a high five when I was done, So what I'm saying is there's practitioners out there that are practicing lifestyle wellness. And yes, they're physicians, they're experts, they're specialists. They'll take you through the proper testing, all those things. Our doctors do this for you guys. We take a deep dive and then work with you where you are and take you to what your destination is. What does that look like? And we help you paint that, because sometimes people have given up on what that destination looks like. And then you and I, we see it every day. We see people's lives transform. So don't give up hope, and don't just be frustrated. I know you're overwhelmed, frustrated, exhausted, but Mark can help you find people. I can help you find people. You can get in touch with us. We've got doctors all over the country. And so with that, please have faith in that. And then on the practitioner side, you really have to get to a point of, if when I ask a practitioner, is where you're at in the way that you're doing things, the way that the practice is working, all of those things combined, the value that you receive, what you're able to do for your clients, the time you spend with your family, are you on purpose? Are you okay with it? Are you good with it? Or have you got to a point where you can say, you know what, Charlie, no, it's unacceptable. When you get to the point to where you say, no, it's unacceptable, you can be helped. Now you will put the dedication and time in. And it's one thing to say, I'll change. That's a decision. But to actually take the action in the first step, that's a commitment. Mm-hmm. Those are two different things. And action in itself was required for change. So talk is talk is talk. I mean, the first thing that you did, Mark, after you listened to me, you got on a schedule and you got on a call. That was an action step. That was a commitment. And that's all I can ask you guys to do is, if you just sit back and you keep doing what you're doing, I promise you're going to be in the same place next year, the following year, except it's probably going to get worse because the system's falling apart. And quite frankly, it's people like me and Mark that I'm not trying to tear it apart, but I'm just trying to make a better one. And the better one that we make, the other one's going to kind of fall apart. So take action and get in touch with us. Whether we can help you or not, I promise this. We'll help coach you. We'll help give you guidance, whether you're ever a client of mine or not.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Charlie, how do people get a hold of you? I know I've said the website. What is it again?
freedompracticecoaching.com. But I'll tell you what, Mark, I'm going to give you an actual phone number. So Freedom Practice Coaching, freedompracticecoaching.com. That'll take you to our regular website, and you can find an area to get what we call a discovery call. And it's not a sales call, guys. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is we're going to find out where you are, what kind of practice you do, how you're serving your communities, and what it might look like to transition to this. But there's a phone number that you'll go directly to Erica, and Erica will be able to guide you into one of our coaches and start getting some one-on-one. There's no charge for this, some one-on-one. So let me give you this number. It's 210-394-3953. Again, that's 210-394-3953. Again, it's a customized coaching call, nothing to buy or anything. We're here to add significance. And if in time we can be your coach, that's a beautiful thing. But we got to help people, whether they're our client or not, Mark. You know that we're going to serve.
I do. And I will tell you, people that are listening need to know this. I wholeheartedly endorse and support what you're doing. We've been through the program, and it's done nothing but benefit people. And that gives me great satisfaction and reward to see people get benefited, see the community grow, community get better and get more confident and restore trust in this whole idea of true health care. So thank you for that. And thank you for joining me today. This is great.
It's been a breath of fresh air, Mac. I've got some great friends in the world. You're one of them, but man, when we talk, you're one of the guys that, you see, your cup is always 3/4 full, man. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So I appreciate you, man.
Well, I appreciate you too. And most of all, I get the opportunity in these podcasts like this to introduce my friends to the world. And that's a great privilege and pleasure. So I'm glad and grateful and blessed to call you friend. That's the most important relationship we can.
I agree, man. I super appreciate that. And I know we've been trying to get you on with me too, because I know that we'll have an exciting conversation there too. So I'll make certain we reach out. But thank you so much for the invitation. It means a lot. I really do respect that, and hopefully we'll make an impact.
We will. And ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Charles Webb, Freedom Practice Coaching. You got the number 210-394-3953. So if you're a practitioner out there, call the number right now. Don't wait. Don't delay. Take action. Have some courage, man. Step up. Do it right now.
There you go. Have some courage. Step out of the box.
We'll put it in there in the link below. So, folks, thank you for joining us again. And as always, if you enjoy these things, subscribe, find out who's coming next. And remember, don't let anything, anybody, anyone, any system steal your health, because it's valuable and it's worth it and it's significant. And you're significant. So we'll see you next time on Healthcare's Missing Link.
Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood and their clinic can help you find the hope and health you were created to enjoy. Go to sherwood.tv for clear, proven ways you can be healthier. Subscribe at sherwood.tv